Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Christian Skoggs, and Dune Part 2 is by far the most hyped up release of 2024 so far. It is the movie I think everyone has been anticipating. It's the movie that everybody has been talking about. Remember what Avengers Endgame was in 2019? Yeah, that's Dune Part 2 in 2024. Remember what Marvel movies used to feel like back in the day? That sense of excitement that you'd get when you see certain characters do certain things. I don't think you'd expect it to be the next Dune movie that you would get that experience from, but yeah, it's the next Dune movie that you're getting that experience from. Dune Part 2 is probably one of the greatest science fiction epics of all time, and it's not even close. This is going to be easily the best movie of the year unless something comes along later on down the line that somehow beats it. Yeah, we have like a Furiosa movie coming out that could be really good, but I'm going to just be completely honest with you. I think Dune Part 2 is winning all the Oscars. It's probably winning Best Visual Effects, Best Cinematography, Best Directing, and Best Picture. Now look, I am a huge fan of the first Dune movie. I think the first Dune movie was also a really amazing cinematic experience, and I have a lot of respect for that movie. It's a movie that I've seen 5 times in theaters, and going to this one I was thinking, well, I guess we gotta break the record now, because Dune Part 1 originally held the record for the most times I've seen a movie in theaters, again that being 5 times. Now, I don't know, man, I feel like 10 times might be enough. I did see this movie at the TCL Chinese Theater for the fan access screening, and although the screening I went to was not the IMAX 70mm version, this theater will in fact have the IMAX 70mm version when it comes out on February 29th. So chances are tickets are already sold out for most of the IMAX 70mm screenings, but I am really excited to check out the IMAX 70mm screening of Dune Part 2 next week. So if you can, I feel like that might be a good option to see this movie in if you haven't already booked your tickets. But yeah, this is, I think, going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. I think this movie is going to absolutely crush it at the box office and at the Academy Awards, as I've already said. This film picks up where the first film left off, where if you haven't seen that first film, it basically ends with Paul Atreides and his mother now having joined the Fremen, and now he is with the Fremen fighting the Harkonnens in the desert. And so this film essentially portrays the rise of him as a messiah and what that process looks like for the Fremen and how it controls the overall hierarchy of Arrakis. Now look, the thing about the first Dune movie is that it is visually enthralling, but it's not really going to emotionally connect with you unless you fully understand the lore and what's happening in this universe. Now, I am currently in the process of reading the book, Dune, which I am really enjoying so far, so maybe my emotional connection to the story could come from the fact that I understand a little bit more of this lore and what's happening, and I think that's also what contributed to me now enjoying the first one as much as I do. But I also legitimately think that there is an improvement in its emotional connection between the first movie and the second movie. You feel so much more emotion, there's a little bit more humor, I feel like everybody has a little bit more self-awareness, and because of that, it allows the audience to connect with people a little bit more. I think that first movie is really good, but again, it's just very cold and you don't really fully understand what's going on unless you understand that lore, which you either have to read the books in order to understand it or have watched the movie several times and really paid attention to everything. I think with this next movie though, because most people should be familiar with the world and what's happening, it allows you to get into it a little bit more and you feel so much more invested in everything that's happening. Paul's rise in this movie is a very dark and scary one. You would think that his rise, especially against the Harkonnens, would be something that you would be rooting for, something that's enthralling. As the film goes along, though, certain things happen that I won't spoil, and you start to realize that this is actually a very disturbing thing that's happening. What this film mostly is a cautionary tale, one that comments on religion and the idea of there being the one, if that's something that, is really good for people or not, and if one person can truly promise freedom for an entire group of people. There's a lot of really interesting social commentary in this film that was present in the original Dune novel that Denis Villeneuve has now found a way to incorporate into this film while also still making it a wildly entertaining movie. I think what's really great about this one is that it's going to appeal to film buffs as much as it's going to appeal to fans of blockbuster entertainment. Blockbuster entertainment fans are going to be into the action, the spectacle, especially if you go see this on an IMAX screen, which I think most people who go to see this movie will. This is going to be something that you're going to be massively enthralled by and fully engaged in. but people who understand the story and are looking to think about its themes and what it's trying to say, there is a lot to chew on as well. This film does not disappoint in any aspects, and I think it's what has held this movie up to a higher standard than most of these blockbuster movies usually would. To be honest with you, when I left this theater, I was completely speechless. I didn't really know what to say, and having seen it 2 days ago, I'm kind of still at a loss of words. This movie is truly something that I don't think we're going to be able to top, or if we do top it, we're going to have a really difficult time doing that. There's so many standout scenes and moments that I think have just been on replay in my head, and I can't wait for this movie to finally get released to a wide audience so I can go see this movie over and over again. So yeah, obviously that's an overwhelmingly positive review for Dune Part 2. I think everyone should go see this right away. This is one of the best movies ever made, and definitely the best movie of 2024. It's going to be really hard to top it. 10 out of 10, yeah, just see this one, man. Like, you know what to do.